and welcome back to my channel. After my last video where I talked about plants that I was influenced to buy and whether or not I thought that they were worth it, I've been thinking a lot about plants in my collection and how my opinions on them might have changed over the course of me having them. And I actually found several plants in my collection that I was not a fan of when I first saw them, whether that be online, whether that be them being given to me or what, but I just was not a fan to start. But now I have grown to love them so much and really enjoy them. Like, they've grown on me. And so I thought it'd be fun to share those with you and talk about how my opinions changed on things, because it's okay to have your opinions change. That is all right. It is natural. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. Before I get into it, I want to say, if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. Let's get on into it. So probably the biggest one that I was not expecting to actually love as much as I do, like to the point where I did not want one until I actively saw one in person, was the Anthurium Regale. So this one's actually really hard to, oh, that actually works really well. I was gonna say it's hard to show you because it is such a big plant. Like, look how big this leaf is. But I had seen Anthurium Regales online and I just like, they're fine. I didn't really care for them that much. Like, they kind of just look like another Anthurium to me. I didn't understand the hype behind them until I went to the Rare Plant Festival like a few years back in Leeds, and they had an Ecuagenera stall and they had tons and tons and tons of different plants that had been imported from Ecuador, one of which was the Anthurium Regale. And as soon as I saw these big, beautiful leaves, I knew in that moment that I absolutely had to have this plant. And I am so glad that I changed my mind on this one. And I think it did just take me seeing it in person in order to realize that I actually really love it. And since then, I mean, it's not grown the best for me. I've had lots of issues with it, but I don't even mind because the growth it does put out is so freaking gorgeous that it's definitely worth that little bit of hassle. And it is quite a big plant. It's a bit one leaf club right now. I'm hoping that this thing will eventually put out a new leaf. I really don't know. I'm really hoping it does, because although I like this one leaf, I'd love for it to have more, because that would be awesome. But yeah, I just really didn't expect to love this one as much as I do. And it's like, I think it's, I don't know if it's my favorite Anthurium, but I really love having it, and I think my collection would feel a little bit empty without it now. And so I'm really glad I've changed my mind on this one. The next one that I really did not expect to love as much as I do, that's a little bit, that's better, is the monkey tail cactus. So this plant, the first time that I ever saw one of these in person, I think I was at Claire's house. She was filming for Patreon and she got one in the mail and unboxed it, and I was just like, not really my cup of tea, but like, you do you.
This is the one that I went on Etsy to look for.
That terrifies me. I don't know what changed in me in the time. Maybe it's that I didn't have any jungle cactus before and now I have started to really love jungle cactus, or what, but now I really freaking love this one and I'm so happy that I have it. Like, and it's just so weird that I could go from really not liking it and being like, no thanks, to wanting one so badly and ending up getting one for myself. And maybe it was that, like, seeing Claire's grew on me a little bit, but yeah, it's so weird how how these things work. And I love that like it is soft and strokable. Like it looks like it's spiny and that it would hurt you if you touched it, but it's really not. I mean, as long as you stroke it downwards, it's absolutely fine and soft. And I've also found that it's growing pretty well. I mean, it's definitely not perfect. I could probably be getting it to grow a little bit better, but there is still some growth in there, and I am proud of this little guy, given it is living in a southwest facing window, so it's getting as much light as physically possible in my home, and that's the most I can possibly give it. I've gotten scared though, because one of my friends said that they had mealybugs on theirs. I don't see any on mine, thank goodness. But yeah, that just, it terrifies me because I would hate to have a mealybug infestation. I've never had a mealybug infestation before. Knock on wood. I do not need that in my life. But yeah, the monkey tail cactus, I don't know why I had such an aversion to it at the beginning, but now I think it's so cool and weird. Maybe I just like that it's weird, and I've grown to love that. The next one is the Monstera Obliqua. When I first saw this plant online, like years and years ago, back when it was like, it's never an Obliqua, people were selling like Adansonii as Obliquas, and they weren't actually Obliquas. When you saw the real picture of the Obliqua, and it just kind of looked like a sickly Adansonii, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. Why would you want a plant that's mostly holes? But now that I have one, I think it is really freaking cool. And so I don't think I would have ever bought one of these for myself, but this was given to me by one of my friends at a plant swap as a cutting, and I've been able to grow it in a prop box, and I've finally taken it out of the prop box and like added it to my collection properly. And I am absolutely loving looking at it and watching it grow. Like I've even got a bit of a new leaf coming in there. And like, even though they grow in wrinkly and weird, I'm kind of here for it now, whereas I wasn't. I think I understand more the hype now that I have one in my life than when I didn't before. So I also understand that they have massively lowered in price, and I feel like I like that as well. I really don't like having plants that are like extremely extravagantly rare and almost unattainably rare. It feels like, one, I don't have that kind of money to spend on plants, and so I just choose to not like them in order to convince myself that it's okay that I'm not gonna get myself one. But I like that they're more attainable now and that more people can get them and get their hands on them, because it is a really cool one. I definitely like this more than a normal Adansonii. I don't even have a normal Adansonii at this point. Yeah, I don't have any plant. I don't even have a variegated Adansonii. I know those are like huge at the minute as well, but I don't have even one of those. This is the only Adansonii-ish plant that I have, and I'm a fan. I like it, and I think it's weird and skeleton looking, and I love it. So from the last video, the plant that I was thinking about that brought me into this whole subject was the Monstera Dubia. The first time I saw Monstera Dubia, I thought it was weird. I thought the shingling was strange, and like it kind of freaked me out a little bit. Like, why is it so flat to the wall? I just didn't get it. But since having one and growing one for myself, the shingling, I find it so fascinating now. Like, the fact that the leaves wrap themselves around the pole and like get so flat, it looks like it's just plastered on there. I don't understand it, but I think the shingling is really freaking cool now, and I don't know why I thought it was so weird before, but I found it, like, I didn't like it for myself, and I don't know if it's because, I don't know, it just seemed a bit spooky. I don't know why I thought that, but it felt spooky and weird, and I think maybe it's that I have been growing into weirder plants lately in my time. I have, like, everyone can have a normal plant, but only so many people can have weird plants. And as a self-proclaimed weird person, I feel like it fits the vibe. So I'm very, very glad I have changed my mind on this one. It is still recovering from being chopped, and I still haven't got that like lovely silvering back at the top. I think I need to get this one a little bit more light in order to get that back, but it is starting to size up again, so maybe in the near future I will be able to get it back to looking like this, and maybe one day get it to fenestrate, because that would be freaking cool. But I'm not putting pressure on this one or myself. I'm just letting it do as it needs to, and I find that that's actually the best way to grow the dubias, because they are, I don't know, I don't think they need as much care as people might not say, but like this one hasn't minded being a little bit neglected. I've been keeping the moss pole fairly moist, and that's probably the most effort I actually put into it, but otherwise it has been a fairly easy care, low maintenance plant for me in my collection. And that does help in my terms of love. If it's a low maintenance plant, I'm even more here for it. Speaking of low maintenance plants, this guy, this is called a dead stick plant. And the first time I ever saw one of these, sorry, it's a bit wobbly because it's so tall. The first time I ever saw one of these online, I was like, why the heck would you want a plant that looks like dead sticks? I did not get it at all. But once I saw one in person, I realized that the stems have kind of this like dappled variegation looking texture on them, and it's really, really cool looking. So now that I have one and it's in my cabinet and getting a bit sun stressed, you can see it's a bit more brown colored. I think that's absolutely normal. It just goes like, you know how Hoyas go purple or red when they're sun stressed? This one goes, I guess, red too, because red plus green kind of makes brown. But yeah, ever since I saw it in person, I decided I really, really like this one, and I think it's like super, super cool and strange, and I like how it's adapted to look like a dead plant in order to not get eaten. Maybe learning that story helped me love this one a little bit more, because it is literally a survival mechanism for this plant to look dead, and so other animals don't come up and try and eat it because it just looks like it's a plant without leaves. But each of these blades is kind of like its own leaf. It's really surreal and weird. And again, I think it's just me being better at accepting weird things. But I really like that variegation texture on there. I don't know why, but it's really cool. So strange, and I love it so much. This one is the Philodendron Florida Ghost, and I'm not sure why I thought this one was so meh before, but because it has like all those qualities of things I would like. I really love mint variegation and these sort of light greeny leaves. You'd think I would really like it, but I just did not care for this one at all. I've had several in the past, and I did not care for them. They didn't grow well for me. I didn't feel like I wanted to take care of them. I did not care. And I think it took me getting one with like really good genes. Actually, I think this one was like a gift from a friend or a swap or something like that. Like, I didn't buy it. Whereas the ones I have bought or were given to me in hauls or something previously, were on the smaller side and didn't have these sort of big, beautiful, ghostly leaves that the Florida Ghost is known for. The leaves were growing in smaller and more green, which, I mean, it's fine. I don't really care for the pedatum that much, which is kind of what this is, or the Florida green. Not really my cup of tea. But for some reason, as soon as it starts looking like this, I'm like, yes, I'm here for it now. And so since getting one that has grown better for me, I have liked it so much more. Every new leaf it pops out, I'm now excited to see what it's gonna look like and how it's gonna grow in, and whether or not it's going to keep the beautiful minty dappliness on it. Oh, I love it so much, and I'm really glad that I have this in my collection now, because for a long time I didn't care at all, and I didn't want one, and I was just over it, didn't think it was for me, but I love it so much. It's also got like loads of, I don't know if I should have eaten that or not, but it's got loads of extra floral nectaries on it at the minute. Can you see those? Got tons, and I don't think it's got pests on it. As far as I know, it doesn't. But it is heavily producing the extra floral nectaries, which was sweet. I don't know if I'm supposed to eat that or not. I probably am not, because I'm pretty sure philodendrons are toxic in general. But I think one tiny little bit of sugar water isn't gonna end me. I hope. If I'm here in the next video, you'll know I'm not dead. Oh, but yeah, I'm definitely here for this one. I also have a Philodendron Florida Beauty in this pot at the bottom, and this one I don't care for nearly as much as I care for the Philodendron Ghost. Given they're in the same pot, but I just don't like it as much. I much prefer the color and vibe of the Ghost than the Florida Beauty. It's like sugar syrup. Quite delicious. We're gonna talk about begonias now, because this is kind of a plant that I have generally struggled with. And I feel like because I have struggled with begonias, I convinced myself that I didn't like them, because I could not grow one. And so like, it's easier for me to say, oh, I don't like it, and like, I don't need to buy more because I'm struggling with the ones I have and they're just not growing well and they've all died for me, than it is to like keep trying with them. But ever since I got this one, this is kind of the one that changed it all for me. This is the Begonia White Ice specifically. This one changed my mind completely. And I think part of it is figuring out how they grow and being able to get them to grow nicely. For me, that was having this one in pretty much 100% humidity in semi-hydro as well. Oh, I need to water this one. But in semi-hydro, so it's able to get lots and lots of humidity and moisture whenever it wants. That has kind of been the key for me with begonias, and I didn't expect that, because everyone's always said to me begonias are really easy, they grow so quick, and until I figured out the humidity and the watering situation, that was not the case for me. But now that I have, I'm loving this one. I've taken so many cuttings from it. I've shared it with so many people. Like, I literally grew this from a single couple leaf cutting, and now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 stems of it, and some more props somewhere else, I'm pretty sure. Like, I just keep chopping and propping this one, and it's growing into a proper little bush. I love it so much. It's just so cool. The one thing that I'm not as fond of with it is the red on the backs of the leaves. But for some reason, when the new growth comes in all pink at the top, I'm here for it. I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of red in plants, and I think that's another reason why I wasn't the biggest fan of begonias in general. But as long as I have this like facing out as opposed to like looking at the back of it, I don't really rotate this plant, you can tell. But as long as I have it facing out and I get to enjoy these like beautiful icy polka dots, we're good, we're fine. I get to enjoy the beauty that is this begonia. And then last, but definitely not least, this is my Anthurium Pallidiflorum. I used to hate strappy anthuriums. I thought they looked dumb, and I did not like them until I found out that the Pallidiflorum is slightly velvety. And then I suddenly just like, I'm into them. I am totally down to try this one. I'm so glad I have it. It is, again, one of my favorite Anthuriums. Maybe not my one favorite, but definitely up there on the list of the Anthuriums. And I love it so much so that I'm now into other strappy Anthuriums. Like, I'd be so down to get a Viridifolium. I think I've got cuttings or like little seedlings of some, but I would love to like get a big one or grow those into a nice big one, because I think they're so cool now. They don't need to be velvet in order for me to like them. I'm so here for this strange, long, strappy plant. I just really didn't get the whole vibe before. I didn't get the joy of these long belt kind of leaves. But something just clicked in me and changed completely, and now I am absolutely obsessed with this one, and I feel so lucky to have it in my collection. It's actually also one of the easier Anthuriums I've ever cared for. It just grows and is chill. It's not living in a particularly bright place or with like tons of care or humidity. It's in my bedroom. That's the coldest room in the house, and it's absolutely fine. It's fine and it's growing. And so I don't feel like I need to worry about this one at all, and I love to look at it and enjoy the new leaves when they come in, because also like the new leaf will come in like very ditty and then just like grow down the line. So freaking cool. I love it so much, and I am so glad I changed my mind on strappy Anthuriums for this one in particular, but in general, I am genuinely tempted to buy myself a proper Viridifolium now. I think they are really cool. So yeah, those are the main plants in my collection that I have completely taken a 180 on in terms of whether or not I like them. I am so glad that I have all of these now, that I've actually tried them and like kept my mind open to them, because had I not kept an open mind, I wouldn't have them and I wouldn't love them, and I'm glad that I have them and I love them now. So yeah, really happy that I have made that choice to be open-minded. I'd also really love to hear if you have changed your opinions on any of these plants or any plants in your collection. Are there any that you really disliked until you got one or until you saw one in person and then you completely did a 180 on them and now love them? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, give this video a thumbs up if you like it. I would really appreciate that, and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Do not forget to keep growing. Bye!